Okay, I'm going to talk through my community asset map. The audio may be loud for this, so you might want to turn it down. I had some issues with my classroom screencast software I'm using. This is my community asset map. I teach at Trimble Middle School. I am entering my, eighth year of teaching, sixth year here. As you can see, my asset map might look a little bit differently, and I'll get into why here in a few minutes. But primarily what I was trying to do through this project and through the assessment for this program, which I linked with it and I'll get to later, was to take a look at best practices for middle level education and then align things through those means. So as you make your way down from Columbus, it may seem like a short drive down to Athens County, but it's a world away. We know that in this area, coal and clay, brick, was typically how people were employed. So as you make your way down, you pass through Logan, you pass through Nelsonville, and then you make your way, if you head out Route 13, about 15 minutes to Trimble. And Trimble Township is composed of Jacksonville, Gloucester, and Trimble. And I'm going to go in depth a little bit about the needs of this community and the means through which I'm suggesting we can make use of our assets. So when I did the Assessment 7 scenario, I looked at how we could support student achievement by enhancing the teaching and learning moment. So I wanted to look at how we could incorporate student families in the community into initiatives. So in both language arts and math, students are making growth. However, in spite of value-added data in our district, there are gaps. As part of my professional internship, I identified those. Number sense algebra and writing analysis of text tasks seem to be areas where students need to dig in deeper. So those are the areas where we need to initiate gap closing, especially with our students with disabilities. And many of them I know learn best through hands-on activities. So what I came up with for this assessment, which aligns with my asset map, would be to tailor instruction in line with this, we believe, to include place-based interdisciplinary learning opportunities. So I'm going to just read the second paragraph. Instruction for the young adolescent in a true middle school should and can look different when supported by administration mindful of teacher needs to best meet student needs, including shared planning time, team time, and an advisory program. Excellence in education, which is basically the only thing in Trimble's mission statement, will not be attained. Only strides toward it or mere unguided attempts will be made if we do not act upon decades-long research which shows that to best meet the young adolescent's needs, we need to be rooted in the attributes from this we believe. And if you're considering teaching in a true middle school, or whether they call it a middle school or junior high, or being an administrator in one and you don't know about this we believe, please familiarize yourself. It's crucial and important. Instruction needs to be developmentally responsive, challenging, empowering, and equitable. So if we ignore our parents and our guardians and our community's role, I think we're eliminating a whole plethora of assets that we should be calling upon. So for my project, I came up with the idea of doing student-led conferences with a student's advisory or homeroom teacher, looking at that hidden curriculum piece of the social emotional needs of the student. And there would be thematic opportunities each quarter left to teams of teachers to plan with some guidelines. And then there would be, in the quarters where there were not conferences being led by students, there would be events where we would be showcasing and inviting in our community stakeholders and parents and guardians to see student work tied to those projects. So the goal kind of for each quarter would be to have bolstered community engagement. And you can, at the end of my presentation, you can look at what I came up with specifically if you're interested. Okay, so this we believe is how I frame my asset map. So this is all research-based. Middle level education is the only true initiative in education which was a grassroots movement. So the essential attributes of this we believe, these affirm what we believe the keys to educating young adolescents are. So instruction needs to be developmentally responsive, challenging, empowering, and equitable. And then there's 16 characteristics. I'm just going to focus on 2 categories: curriculum instruction and assessment, and culture and community. So if you want to just take a moment, you can read where the arrows are. So I'm going to focus on these in the center of my asset map, and these 2 on the top and the bottom spoke of my asset map. Okay, so culture and community. The school environment is inviting, safe, inclusive, and supportive of all. Health and wellness are supported in curricula, school-wide programs, and related policies. The school actively involves families in the education of their children, and the school includes community and business partners. So I thought, what better way would there be to frame this for the way I think about middle level education than to use these essential attributes. So looking at culture and community will be one spoke of my asset map. But in order to best meet the needs of the culture and the community, I created a survey. So I asked for participation via email, phone call, and on social media. I asked about people's origin, where they're from, what they value about the district, what they value about the area. I asked them to rank how satisfied they are with the community involvement in the school. I asked them for ideas. So a lot of this is very qualitative, so a lot of these responses are open-ended. I asked what skill sets they believe middle-level students need. As a teacher in the district, a need that I know emerges and parents bring up is the idea that they know that their child may not be going to college or may not be, quote, college material. And so they feel that sometimes we really are doing a disservice when we aren't preparing students to enter a vocational trade. So I wanted to pull in the life skill sets. And then I also asked, how would you be willing to contribute to this? It could be human capital or otherwise. Would you be willing to discuss your thoughts further in a personal phone or through email, interview? And do you have anything else you want to share? So I just pulled a few samples from each. So 85.7% of my participants are from the area originally. I tried to diversify who I sent it to. What do you value most about Southeast Ohio? So simple living, the idea that we're away, we're rural, natural beauty. You'll see in most of these response samples, which I'm just going to click through that you can skim, that the idea of close family ties, kinship, community, those are what are kind of the threads that are running throughout that people see value in. One thing that I saw were there are some big organizations who have traditions. They have events they host. People brought those up. But there's a lot of assets that I identified through this project that people were not bringing up on the survey. So I think a need is to tap into how can we bring these people into the school and how can we publicize and get the word out about the assets in the community. I think the people who said there wasn't great involvement from the community are the same people who also noted kind of those key organizations that are really active. And so I think we need to work to bring other organizations in the area in and to invite them. If in interdisciplinary studies, all subject areas with hands-on learning opportunities were to be built into each quarter's curriculum for middle school students, what local and regional entities would you recommend? And so here's a sample of the responses. These aren't all of them, but very broad governmental agencies. Chicks for a Cure is the breast cancer awareness fundraising organization out this way. Businesses, but people I noticed that, they felt that they were limited. Again, this shows value in tradition in the community, which I think is something we need to tap into. Sports are huge. I think we need to do a better job of integrating academic or other events with our sports nights and with our sign-ups and things. Do you have anything else you'd like to add or share? I thought this was great. Middle level is such a delicate time in a student's life. It's during this time that they're figuring out for themselves and are in a transition of being a child to a teenager. They struggle with things that are overwhelming and lash out when it's too much. This level is very frustrating yet intriguing because they can surprise you at any moment with their skills and abilities. And so that for me really kind of drove the way that I organized the rest of this asset map. So looking at essential attributes, curriculum, instruction, and assessment. This, we believe, which is the framework for a successful middle school and what research shows is best, affirms that students and teachers are engaged in active, purposeful learning. curriculum is challenging, exploratory, integrative, and relevant, and educators use multiple learning and teaching approaches. And so for this kind of spoke of my asset map, I looked at areas in our county and out in this district where we would have opportunities for experiential learning. So that's how I framed that. Next, we'll go to culture and community. The school environment is inviting, safe, inclusive, and supportive of all. Health and wellness are supported in the curriculum, school-wide programs, and policies. And the school actively involves families, and the school includes community and business partners. So here, what I did is I focused more on non-for-profit clubs, organizations, existing initiatives that are taking place, either in the district, in the school system itself, or in this area. This is a highly impoverished area. We are in rural Appalachia, so lots and lots of emphasis on churches, on service organizations. So I think that's where we tap into the families, is through those things that are intrinsically valuable to them, even if the school's not. And then developmentally responsive and challenging curriculum. So developmentally responsive curriculum is using the nature of young adolescence as the foundation on which all decisions are made, and it needs to be challenging to all, recognizing that they can learn and everyone is held to high expectations. And I think with regard to these two spokes, one of the challenges that I see and a big need is that we need financial capital, we need human capital, we need to tap into resources. And so I think a lot of the obstacles that come up have to do with lack of transportation for field trips, for instance, lack of funding to provide food to families, which we know will bring them in the door. And so I think it would be savvy of us to look at business partners and people in the area who could donate time, put us in touch with others, and really, from my point of view, have not been called upon in the past. This could also be bringing them in to speak to topics that students might have interest in, and integrating them into the curriculum as stakeholders. Okay, and last, curriculum should be empowering and equitable. So providing all students with knowledge and skills they need to take control of their lives, and advocating for every student's right to learn, and providing challenging and relevant learning opportunities. And so here what I did is I kind of thought about assets in our area which speak to special interest groups that are diverse. So I have everything here from Living Healthy Appalachia to Integrated Services to NAMI, which is a mental health organization, the Ohio Bicycle Federation, Good Works, COAD, the ODNR, the Chester Hill Produce Auction. So just again, this is kind of a subset of the bottom spoke, but looking more specifically at giving students opportunity to be empowered, to take control of skills and knowledge, and then to make sure that we're providing challenging and relevant learning opportunities for all. And I think one of the ways we do that is to speak to diversity in our neighborhood, in our community, in our county, in our state, and more broadly with students, and to show that through their learning opportunities. So that is my community asset map. Here are some resources and references. Again, if you're thinking you're going to be a middle level principal, I sit on the board for the Ohio Middle Level Association, and I am all about this, we believe. So this is a wonderful PDF, and there's also a research basis book and a book that exists about putting it into practice. So for me, I'm through and through middle level, and that's how I chose to frame this. Here are the pages from my project, the quarterly ideas I came up with. So student-led presentations. I kind of brainstormed working with Dirty Girl Coffee, planting a garden, doing something with the grounds from the coffee, and giving back with food through integrated services. That would be a service learning option. You would have a dinner and a movie showcase that coincides with whatever unit. Working with community partners. I toyed around with the idea of the science curriculum, hiking. Burr Oak is a huge asset out here. There's a plethora of opportunities if you look at the map. Quarter 2 was kind of the whole service learning idea, bringing parents in for a sweet treat because it's been so sweet to see students serving their community and just bringing people in and inviting people into the school. There's a lot of buy-in when kids take the initiative and middle schoolers feel that they're empowered and they have a voice. So I think we have to bring the community in, we have to bring the parents in. Quarter 3 is looking at Winter Olympics. I thought it would be super fun to pull in organizations from the community to create teams. This would also be student-led conferences again in quarter 3. They'd be conferring about a portfolio they assembled tied to these place-based integrative team teaching projects they would be working on. And then quarter 4 would be an opportunity for celebrations, a digital exit survey. There would be a survey at the start of the year for parents, and really the idea with these events would just be to pull in all the stakeholders and to really garner some feedback about how we're doing and to make people feel welcome and feel that the school values the community. And I think as a result, that would become a reciprocal situation where the community values the school more and sees relevance and place in their children's lives.